Okay, so today we're diving into one of the most critical battlegrounds in tech right now, where AI and cybersecurity crash into each other. And it's such a fascinating story, because AI isn't just this shiny new shield for defense. Nope, it's also a powerful new weapon for attackers and a brand new target itself. It really is the perfect definition of a double-edged sword. Think about it. The same intelligence that's supposed to guard the castle, it can also be the very key that unlocks the gate. So to really get why this fight is so important, we've got to understand the battlefield itself.
And to get why AI is so crucial here, just try to wrap your head around this idea. This isn't some abstract concept. It's the daily reality for anyone in security. I mean, they're trying to defend a digital world that's changing faster than any human could possibly keep up with. While they're maybe focused on just one potential threat over here, thousands of new servers and containers are being spun up and torn down over there. Data is just exploding. So the biggest danger isn't that one lone hacker in a hoodie, it's the sheer blistering speed of it all. It's about being completely and utterly left in the dust. And that insane pace? Well, that leads us straight to the first huge problem, the modern cloud. It's become this fundamentally unmanageable beast, at least for old school manual security. So let's break down exactly why that is. I mean, it is a perfect storm of complexity, really. First off, you've got these massive floods of data, logs, traffic, you name it, that no human team could ever hope to analyze. Then, the environment itself is just constantly in flux. We're talking about resources like containers that spin up and down in minutes. A weekly security audit, that thing is useless before it's even done. And then, on top of all that, you've got to deal with super sophisticated cyber threats, these fuzzy regulatory guidelines, and the fact that most companies are using multiple different clouds at once. It's just a recipe for disaster. Seriously, trying to secure this mess manually, it's like trying to catch rain in a thimble. It's just not going to happen.
So if people can't keep up, then what can, right? Well, this is where AI comes in. It's our automated guardian. And look, this isn't just another tool in the toolbox. We're talking about a complete shift in how we think about defense, moving away from just reacting to breaches after they happen to actually proactively preventing them in the first place. So how does it actually do that? Well, AI-driven automation basically tackles all those problems we just talked about head on. You get 5 core superpowers, if you will. So instead of a security check maybe once a week, you get continuous monitoring 24/7. Instead of a team of lawyers spending weeks trying to figure out regulations, you get intelligent policy enforcement that's always on, always up to date. Instead of finding out about an attack after the damage is done, you get proactive threat detection. And this is the real kicker. When a problem is found, you get automated remediation that fixes it instantly. All of this at a scale that can actually handle the modern cloud. Now that is security moving at the speed of technology. Okay, so let's look under the hood at how this is actually built. It's basically a 4-step security loop that just runs and runs. Step 1, you've got the data collection layer. This thing just vacuums up everything: logs, network traffic, user activity, all of it. Then, step 2, the AI analytics brain gets to work. It sifts through that absolute mountain of data using machine learning to spot these tiny little anomalies that a human would miss a million times over. Next, step 3, the compliance engine kicks in. It checks everything against the rules and automatically translates complicated regulations like GDPR into policies. And then finally, my favorite part, step 4. If something's off, the remediation layer doesn't just shoot you an alert email. No, it actually steps in and fixes the problem instantly. It's like a complete self-healing security system. And the results of all this, well, they pretty much speak for themselves. A study looking at these kinds of systems found, first, a 94% accuracy in detecting anomalies. I mean, that is incredibly precise. Next, the need for a human to step in was cut by 80%. Think about what that does. It frees up those incredibly smart security teams to focus on bigger, more strategic problems. And get this, compliance reporting became 100% efficient. So we're not just talking about theories here. This is the proven, real-world impact you get with AI security. But here's the twist in the story. What happens when the Guardian itself becomes the target? You see, we've built this incredibly powerful protector, but in doing that, we've also created a brand new high-value target for attackers to go after. And that is the AI paradox. Think about it. We've been so focused on using AI to protect all of our other systems, but have we stopped to think enough about protecting the AI itself? Because honestly, that question, it changes the entire game. So let's talk about these new threats. First up, we have something called data poisoning. And the best way to think about this is to imagine you're training a guard dog, but someone is secretly teaching it to ignore anyone wearing a red hat. That's exactly what this is. Attackers sneak corrupted data into the AI's training set. They're essentially teaching it to have a specific blind spot or even a hidden backdoor that they can come back and exploit later. It's an incredibly subtle and deeply sneaky kind of attack. All right, next up, adversarial attacks. Think of these like optical illusions, but for computers. Attackers can create an input, and we're talking about changing just a few pixels in an image, or maybe a single character in a line of code, that looks totally normal to a human eye. But to the AI, it's been specifically designed to trick it into making a huge mistake, like, say, labeling a piece of malware as a totally safe file. It's a direct attack on the AI's way of seeing the world. And finally, there's a threat that actually comes from the inside: shadow AI. This is what happens when different teams inside a company start using or even building their own AI models without getting any official approval or security oversight. They might be using a public AI tool to speed up their work and accidentally feed it sensitive company data. And just like that, they've created these massive security and compliance holes that the main security team has absolutely no idea even exist. So, okay, faced with all these new, kind of scary threats, the answer is definitely not to just give up on AI. No way. The answer is to get serious about defending our digital defenses. So the big question is, how do we actually secure these incredible AI systems that we're starting to rely on so much? Well, you need a multi-layered defense. It's not just one thing. It all starts with something called red teaming, which is basically when you hire your own team of ethical hackers to attack your AI, trying to find its weaknesses before the bad guys do. Then you need strict model versioning. You got to keep a library of all the past versions, so if a new one gets compromised, you can just instantly roll back to a safe one. Of course, access has to be locked down tight with secure APIs, and you have to follow the principle of least privilege, which is a fancy way of saying nobody gets more access than they absolutely need to do their job. And finally, you have to be constantly monitoring the AI's behavior in real time, just like you monitor the rest of your cloud, to spot any signs that it's been messed with. All of this really requires a completely new mindset for security. The old way, traditional security, was all about patching software and building bigger firewalls. But AI security? Now, it's about validating your training data, constantly monitoring the model's behavior, and testing for these totally new kinds of weaknesses, like data poisoning and adversarial attacks. We're not protecting a static piece of code anymore. We're trying to protect a dynamic, learning, thinking system. So where does all of this leave us? Well, it leads to a pretty unavoidable conclusion. We are entering a brand new kind of technological arms race. And this one is going to be fought between AI-powered defenses and AI-powered offenses. And at the end of the day, this is the ultimate goal, right? Because when AI is secured properly, it lets us finally shift from that reactive posture, cleaning up the mess after a breach, to a truly proactive one, where we can actually anticipate and stop threats before they even happen. That's the incredible promise here, and that's what we're all fighting to secure. And so that leaves us with one final critical question. As both the attackers and the defenders start using more and more sophisticated AI, the speed of this conflict is just going to accelerate beyond anything a human can comprehend. So in that world of AI versus AI, who wins the next digital arms race? Because the winner probably won't be the one with just the smartest algorithm. It'll be the one with the most robust, the most secure, and the most resilient system. The race is officially on.